Hello and welcome. My name is Lanita. I'm the Scrappy Grandma, and I read the Bible on Zoom to send it out to whoever the Father wants to listen to it. So if you're listening to it, I've been praying for you. Um, anyway, I've had a rough couple of weeks. I'm going to try to keep this short because we have a double portion. I was traveling, and then recovery took longer than I expected to from traveling, but I'm back 50%. I'm good enough. I really missed this. This is one of my favorite things to do, and I missed the past 2 weeks. So, um, anyway, this is the Torah portion section. Make sure my thing's working. Nope. This is the Torah portion, which Torah is the first 5 books of everybody's Bible. If you go and pick up the Bible that's in your house, any of them, the first 5 books, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, you'll find those 5 books in the beginning of your Bible. That's the Torah. And it's the history of the Hebrew people, which our Messiah was Hebrew, and we were told to follow him. So we kind of have to understand how he did things to be able to do those things, because he said, follow me and do as you see me do. So we are finishing out the book of Numbers. So that's exciting. And it's a double portion. Like I said, it's Mattot and Massei. And it is the 42nd and 43rd. And it's a double portion because how they break it up, some years are leap years, I guess. And so they have 45 sections. So they break the first 5 books up into 45 sections, or I'm sorry, 54 sections, and there's only 52 weeks in a year, so sometimes there's going to be double portions, and so this is one of those times. So normally I read out of a book called A Year Through Torah. If you go to my link, my Amazon storefront link, I have this listed there. It's a journey through Torah, a week by week journey for Christians. So basically it takes Christian language, which is what, I was in the Christian church for 40 years. And so my brain thinks that way because that's what I've studied and learned for the last 40 years. And when I would read the first part of the Bible, the Torah, not knowing it was just, the first 5 books of the Bible or the first part of the Bible, it was basically it was to check it off a list that I read through the Bible. I didn't understand it. And so begot so and so begot so and so. And then there was wars and people died and Israel kept screwing up and making the same mistakes over and over again. But, that was it. And with the Torah portions, it breaks it down into bite-sized chunks. And everybody all over the world who reads it this way, reads the Torah portions, we're all reading the same portion at the same time. And how beautiful is that we're all coming together in unity to magnify and glorify him by reading his word and learning about how to walk in covenant with him. I mean, there's just people all over the world doing it, and that's got to just bring him such joy and such pleasure that that his beloved children want to know more about him, and we're all coming together. And we find that we all kind of go through similar struggles that are being spoken of in the Torah portion because we're still all learning. And you go over it year by year and you learn something new, and there's another layer peeled off. And that's a lot of what happened over the past 2 weeks with me with traveling. There was some layers kind of ripped off uncomfortably. I did something spectacular. Well done. Not sure what it is. That thing. Anyway, it was a struggle, but I learned. And so I praise him for the struggle because it was brief. Thank you, Father. And I think time is really short. Yeah, I said I wasn't going to take too long. It's really time to dig in, put aside all the distractions and focus on the Father, because it's time, it's happening. And we need to be ready and be waiting and watching and doing and not being distracted because the distractions are coming in at a rampant pace. And we've got to turn our blind eye to the distractions and keep our eye on him So, and going through the Torah portions each week help us focus to do that. We're ending the book of Numbers, which is exciting. And we always kind of do things called be strong, be strengthened, be strengthened, be strong, be strong, be strengthened, something like that. It's a Hebrew thing, a Jewish thing, or I'm not sure where it originated from. But anyway, it's when you finish a book. And then we start Deuteronomy next, the last book, which basically is a basic summary of the first 4 books, which is kind of cool. So, but I would recommend, following along, letting me read to you and then read along with me until you get to a place where you want to read it all on your own. And I do have a group of women that we get together on Thursdays, and we have a call, and we all discuss what we learn on this each week through the Torah portion, which is cool. So if you're interested, let me know. And normally I read out of that commentary book, but since it's a double portion and I've already yacked for a while, I'm going to go ahead and read off of a site that we used to when Rusty and I first started reading the Torah portions. We used it. We could listen to it and read it at the same time, and it explained things. And it's called FFOZ, First Fruits of Zion. And so this is Mattot-Massei. It's the 42nd, 43rd readings. And it means, Mattot means tribes. Massei means journeys. And the portion summary. The name of the 42nd reading from the Torah is Mattot, which means tribes. The name is derived from the word of Numbers 31, which says, when Moses spoke to the heads of the tribes of the sons of Israel, Numbers 30 discusses the laws of vows and oaths. Number 31 tells the story of Israel's war with Midian. 32 relates the story of how the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half tribe of Manasseh came to inherit the land east of the Jordan. Except in biblical calendar leap years, Mattot is read together with subsequent Torah portion, Massei, on the same Sabbath. And so basically what the Torah portions is, we study them all week long. And then in synagogues and messianic fellowships and stuff, we then study the portion. We study the Torah portion. Or we study it all week long. And then, sorry, I had a call. And then on Shabbat, on Sabbath, then we can watch teachings, and Midrash is where we kind of you listen to different people's thoughts and interpretations, or what the Father showed them during the reading. It's called a Midrash, which is kind of cool. So it's kind of what we do on Thursday, but you can also do it on Sabbath. So the last reading from the book of Numbers is called Massei, a word that means journeys. It comes from the first verse of the reading, which begins with the word, "These are the journeys of the sons of Israel," Numbers 31:1. Massei is the end of the continuous narrative of Torah that began in Genesis with the creation of the universe. The narrative does not resume until the end of Deuteronomy, when Moses dies. The final reading in Numbers settles several last-minute details. In it, we find a list of encampments from Egypt to the plains of Moab, so their 40-year journey where they stopped. See, none of this made any sense to me when I read all the times that I've read through the Bible. You just read it and going blah blah blah, and they went to such and such a place and they camped there for so long, and okay, and then move on. Where's the cool stuff happening? Kind of blah 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 blah. This is the cool stuff. This is the cool stuff, because it's not, if it's in there, it's for a purpose, and the little details are so incredible. Hold on real quick. I need to text my husband real quick, who called me. Make sure that let him know. Sorry. Recording. Let's go. There we go. All right. So we also find instructions for apportioning the land, as well as the specifics regarding the borders of the land. While explaining the land and its borders, Moses introduced the laws of the cities of refuge, and more inheritance laws. And then the portion outline, basically, I'll be reading it. So, and then there's what's called the Haftarah. So while when Israel, I think it was just the tribe, it was just Judah, some Benjamin, and some Levites. After the 10 northern tribes were taken captive, there was just Judah left and the southern tribes, and they were being ruled by Greece. If I'm not, I don't think it was Rome, I think it was Greece, and they made it illegal for them to study the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible. They made it illegal. So, tradition, and not tradition in the sense of human tradition, but constantly having remembrances set before us so that we can continuously remember, oh yeah, but Yah did this in that circumstance, and he did this, and he's faithful, and he will come through, and we don't have to doubt him. And we set up, things that remind us and remember us. We wear tzitziot, the tassels, to remind us of who we belong to and how we should behave. I was wearing a head covering for a while to remind me of the proper order of, Yah, my husband, myself, my children, so forth. Things like that. We just, sometimes we need physical remembrances. And so going through this, I never paid any attention, but they're so important. These places that they stopped, they're in there for a reason. And when you start to study them out and find out who lived there and why, and it just is a beautiful history. So the Haftarah is, they couldn't study the Torah, so they were still able to study the prophets, the writings, the books of wisdom. Of course, the gospel didn't exist yet until way after the death of Yeshua. But then they would find parts in those other books that taught the same lesson as what you learn in the Torah, that pointed to it where they could, okay, we're not reading the Torah, we're following the law, but we're still teaching our children and their children, and continuing putting Yah's laws before the next generation so that they could follow in suit. So they started doing the Haftarah, and so that is Jeremiah 2:4-28, and then there's also Jeremiah 3:4. And then I'm not sure the history and how this got added, but the books, the Gospels, and the books of the letters, and it's Mark 12-25 this week. And this is also a Shabbat Rosh Chodesh, and which means it's a new moon, meaning it's the beginning of a new month, Hebrew month, and it's the beginning of Av. And so it's just kind of a special that the Shabbat's also a new moon. So with that, I'm going to pop up my, oh, there it is. Okay. That, you can't see it yet, but now I need to come back to one. That takes a while. Okay. And then I need to share my screen. I'm going to do that. Move myself over there and make myself smaller. Boom, I should be sharing. Okay. So I started using this app. I like it. There's some things I wish I could figure out how to do better, but it is what it is. And someone told me when I highlighted it, it would turn it, and make it difficult to see. Okay, so I won't highlight it. I'll just, what I'll do is I'll click on the verse, and I won't highlight it, and then I'll move down. I'll just do that, since, I was told that it made it hard to read, and I don't want that. So, okay, Father Yah, so much to say, so many lessons you've been teaching me over the past couple of weeks. Oh, praise you, Father. Praise you, Father. Thank you for this. Thank you for the ability and the time that we have left to feast on your word, that we have physical copies and we have digital copies, and we can dive in and learn of you so easily right now. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to do that, to fill our lamps with oil and to fill ourselves with you so that we can walk in covenant with you and please you, walk and be a useful vessel. Father God, send out this to whoever you want to receive it. Bless it. Let it be your words. Let me not speak anything that's not of you, Father. This is to glorify you and to just help people fall in love with you through your word. I mean, how do we get to know you? But by it was written about you and how you show up all the time. So, Father, yeah, bless whoever listens to this and let it go out to who it needs to. In Yeshua's name. Amen. Okay, let's go. I don't even know how long I've been talking. I apologize if this goes long. You know what? It's going to go as long as he wants it to go. So, okay, and then I have mine here just in case I need to. All right. So it starts at Numbers 32. When a man vows a vow to Yah or swears an oath to bind himself by some agreement, he does not break his word. He does according to all that comes out of his mouth. This is one of the areas where I started going, wait a minute, why is my church, why are they doing a Pledge of Allegiance? Because that's making a vow, it's making a pledge. It made me really uncomfortable when I was convicted. Anyway, okay, so women and vows. This is fascinating. So, or if a woman vows a vow to Yah and binds herself by some agreement while in her father's house, so she's still under her father's covering, in her youth, and her father hears her vow and the agreement by which she has bound herself, and her father has kept silent towards her, then all her vows shall stand, and every agreement with which she has bound herself. So, like if she, makes a really virtuous vow and her father hears it, he's like, yeah, it's good for her. He's going to let it go. If she's doing something foolish that's going to affect her or the family, he's going to step in right here. But if the father forbids her on the day that he hears that none of her vows nor her agreements by which she has bound herself stand, and Yah pardons her because of her father has forbidden her. So, her father is there to protect her. He is her covering. So he's going to want what's best for her in a perfect world. But if she at all belongs to a husband, so now she's married and she's left her father's home, now she's under her husband's covering. But if she at all belongs to a husband while bound by her vow or by rash utterance by her lips by which she bound herself, oh, we can do that, can't we, women? And her husband hears it, and he keeps silent towards her. On the day that he hears it, then her vow shall stand, and her agreements by which she bound herself do stand. But if her husband forbids her on the day that he hears it, then he shall nullify her vow which is she vowed, and the rash utterances of her lips by which she bound herself, and Yah pardons her. If I remember reading this before and thinking, what's up with that? Why do we have, you know, how beautiful to be protected. And I'm really leaning in and learning how to let my husband lead and protect. And that is not something I come by naturally because I was raised by strong women, strong, independent, women. And to learn how to come underneath a protective covering is difficult when it's never been modeled, and scary, but really beautiful. So anyway, so but any vow of a widow or a divorced woman, now she's not under a covering, by which she has bound herself, stands against her. She doesn't have a covering to protect her, sadly. That's why we're supposed to take care of the widows and the orphans and those who don't have a covering and someone to take care of them. And if she vowed in her husband's house or bound herself by an agreement with an oath, and her husband heard it, and he kept silent towards her and did not forbid her, then all her vows shall stand, and every agreement by which she bound herself stands. I just realized, I got new glasses, and I'm like, gosh, I can see, and it's so awesome. Um, if her husband clearly nullifies them on the day that he heard them, then whatever came from her lips concerning her vows or concerning the agreement binding her, it does not stand. Her husband has nullified them, and Yah pardons her. Every vow and every binding oath to afflict her being, let her husband confirm it or let him nullify it. I am, how thankful, because I don't always make the best choices or find myself to think so. But if her husband is altogether silent at the day, at her from the day to day, Then he confirms all of her vows and all of her agreements that bind her. He confirms them because he kept silent towards her on the day that he heard. But if he nullifies them after he has heard them, he shall bear her crookedness. So if he's let more than a day go by, then he bears the consequences. These are the laws which Yah commanded Moshe, Moses, between a man and his wife, and between a father and his daughter, in her youth, in her father's house. 31. And Yah spoke to Moshe, saying, take vengeance on the children of Israel, for the children of Israel, on the Midianites, because they did not do right by the Israel. So after that, you are to be gathered to your people. So he's like, okay, I want you to take, Moses, I want you to take Israel out there, and we're going to go to war on the Midianites because of what they've done. And after that, it's going to be your time to die. So they've not yet entered into the promised land. They're still getting ready. They're there and they're at it. And it's the last minute details before it's time to move. And Moshe spoke to the people, saying, arm some of yourself for the campaign, and let them go against the Midianites to take vengeance for Yah on Midian. Send 1,000 from each tribe of all the tribes of Israel for the campaign. So they were supplied from the tribes of Israel, 1,000 from each tribe, 12,000 armed ones for the campaign. And Moshe sent them on the campaign, 1,000 from each tribe, then them and Phinehas, hero Phinehas, son of Eleazar, the priest on the campaign, with the set apart utensils and the trumpets for sounding in his hand. And they fought against the Midianites, and as Yah commanded Moshe, and killed all the males. And they killed the sovereigns of Midian, the kings of Midian, with the rest of those who they pierced. Iwi, Rachim, Shur, and Hur, and Reba, and the five sovereigns of Midian. And they killed Balaam, son of Beor, with a sword. And the sons of Israel took all the women of Midian captive. Now, we have to remember what they just dealt with. I mean, they just were tempted because of Balaam. They were tempted to turn against Yah and start serving their foreign gods. And then there was the plague, and then Phinehas, he handled it, and it was time to go get vengeance on all of that mess. And so they were to kill everybody. And the sons of Israel took all of the women of Midian captain, the ones that seduced their men into turning again, to other gods, with their little ones, and took as the spoil all of their livestock and all their possessions. And they burned with fire all the cities where they dwelt, and all of the settlements. And they took all the spoil and all the booty from the men and beast, both men and beast. And they brought the captives and the booty and the spoil to Moshe and to Eleazar the priest and to the congregation of the children of Israel, to the camp in the desert plains of Moab by the Jordan, of Jericho. And Moshe and Eleazar the priest, because Eleazar's Aaron's son, and he's already passed, and he's now the high priest, and all the leaders of the congregation went to meet them outside the camp. But Moshe was wroth with the officers of the army, with the commanders of the thousands and the commanders of the hundreds who had come from the campaign. And Moshe said to them, have you kept all the women alive? These are like the women who just caused a lot of trouble. And look, they are the ones who caused the children of Israel through the word of Balaam to trespass against Yah in the matter of Peor. And there was a plague among the congregation. And now you kill every male among the little ones, and every woman punctuation, and now kill every male among the little ones, and every woman who has known a man by lying with a man, you shall kill, because they were the ones involved in tempting the men to turn away. But keep alive for yourself all the female children who have not known a man by lying with a man. And you camp outside the camp 7 days. Whoever has killed any being and whoever has touched any slain Cleanse yourself and your captives on the 3rd day and on the 7th day, and cleanse every garment and every object of leather and all the work of goat's hair and every object of wood. And Eleazar the priest said to the men of the campaign who went to the battle, this is the law of the Torah, which means instructions, which Yah commanded Moshe. Only the gold and the silver and the bronze and the iron and the tin and the lead, every object that passes through fire, you put through the fire and it shall be clean. Only, see, there's 2 ways to clean. You clean with water, or you clean with, Yah cleans with water and he cleans with fire. Purifies with water, purifies with fire. Just went through a week of fire. Learned a lot. Didn't do it well, but learned a lot from not doing it well. So everything that does not pass through the fire, then you pass. Okay. So every object that passes through the fire, you put through the fire and it shall be clean. Only let it be cleansed with water for uncleanness. And it shall be clean. And whatever does not pass through the fire, you pass through the water. Okay. And you shall wash your garments on the 7th day and be clean. And afterwards you can come back into the camp. And Yah spoke to Moshe, saying, count up the plunder that was taken of man and of beast, you and Eleazar the priest, and the heads of the fathers of the congregation of, all of the tribes. And you shall divide the plunder into 2 parts between those who took part in the battle, who went out on the campaign, and all of the congregation. And set aside a levy for Yah on the men of battle who went out on the campaign, 1 out of every 500 of men, and of the cattle and of the donkeys and of the sheep. Take it from their half and give it to Eleazar the priest as a contribution to Yah. And from the children of Israel, half of you shall take 1 of every 5th of man, of cattle, of donkey, and of sheep, and all the livestock, and give them to the Levites, guarding the duty of the dwelling place. So the Levites guard the tabernacle, the tent tabernacle. And Moshe and Eleazar, the priest, did as Yah commanded Moshe. And the booty remaining from the plunder which the people of the campaign had taken was 675,000 sheep, 72,000 cattle, 61,000 donkeys, 32,000 human beings in all, of women who had not known a man by lying with a man. And the portion of those who went out on the campaigns was in number 337,500 sheep. And levy unto Yah of the sheep was 675, and cattle were 36,000, of which the levy unto Yah was 72. The donkey were 30,500, of which the levy unto Yah was 61. The human beings were 16,000, of which the levy unto Yah were 32 beings. And so Moshe gave the levy, which was the contribution to Yah, to Eleazar the priest, as Yah had commanded Moshe. And from the children of Israel, half, which Moshe divided from the men who campaigned. And now the half belonging to the congregation was 337,500 sheep, and 36,000 cattle, and 30,500 donkeys, and 16,000 human beings. Then Moshe took from the children of Israel half, 1 out of every 50 drawn from man and beast, and gave them to the Levites who guarded the duty of the dwelling place of Yah, as Yah had commanded Moshe. And the officers who were over thousands of the campaigns, and commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds, came near Moshe. And they said to Moshe, your servants have taken account of the fighting men under our command, and not a man of us is missing. What? They just took out all, and killed all these people, and not one casualty. That's our Yah. So we have brought an offering for Yah, what every man found of ornament of gold, of armlets and bracelets, signet rings and earrings and necklaces, to make atonement for ourselves before Yah. And Moshe and Eleazar the priest received the gold from them, all fashioned ornaments, and all of the gold of this offering that they presented to Yah for the commanders of thousands and the commanders of hundreds was 16,750 shekels. The men of the campaign had taken spoil, every man for himself. And Moshe and Eleazar, the priest, received the gold from the commanders of thousands and hundreds and brought it unto the tent of appointment as a remembrance for the children of Israel before Yah. Real quick, I'm going to check and see if there was something urgent from my husband. Oh, he's on his way home. Okay. We're going to be going to town as soon as he gets home. So, yeah, you know my timeline. All right. So, did we go? Okay. And the children of Reuben, okay, how far am I supposed to be going? I know it's till 36:13, so we're like getting halfway there. And the children of Reuben and the children of Gad had much livestock, a large number, and they saw the lands of Yazur in the land of Gilead and saw that the place was a place for livestock. So the children of Gad and the children of Reuben came and spoke to Moshe and to Eleazar the priest and to the leaders of the congregation, saying, Atroth and Dibon and Yazur and Nimrah and Heshbon and Eliahah and Siban. One of these days I may learn how to actually pronounce these words, but these names, and Nebo and Beon. And the land which Yah has stricken before the congregation of Israel is a land for livestock, and your servants have livestock. And they said, if we have found favor in your eyes, let this land be given to your servants as a possession, and do not let us pass over the Jordan. And Moshe said to the children of Gad and to the children of Reuben, are your brothers to go into battle while you yourselves sit here? Now, why do you discourage the heart of the children of Israel from passing over the land, into the land which Yah has given them? Thus your fathers did when I sent them away from Kadesh Barnea to see the land. For when they went up the Wadi Eshcol and saw the land, they discouraged the heart of the children of Israel, and so they did not go into the land which Yah had given them. Don't start this again. We've learned, and once, like I said, set up remembrances. Remember what happened when we did this in our past. Let's not make the same mistakes. So then the displeasure of Yah burned on that day, and he swore an oath, saying, not one of the men who came up from Mitzrayim from 20 years old and above is to see the land which I swore to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Jacob, because they did not follow me completely. They didn't believe that he was capable and able. Only Joshua and Caleb were like, yeah, we got this. Yeah, there's giants in the land, but you said that you're giving it to us, so let's go. And the rest was like, oh no, we're scared. They were operating from a place of fear. I know this well. I've done it many times in my life, and it always ends up bad. So trust him. It's so terrifying, but every time you do, he shows up and gives you more reason to trust him the next time. So, except Caleb, son of Yehuni, and the Kizanite, and Yehoshua, son of Nun, Joshua, Caleb and Joshua, son of Nun, for they followed Yah completely. So the displeasure of Yah burns against Israel, and he made them wander in the wilderness for 40 years, until all the generation that had done evil in the eyes of Yah was destroyed. And see, you have risen in your father's place in an increase of men, sinners, and add still more to the burning displeasure of Yah against Israel. For if you turn away from following him, he shall once again leave them in the wilderness, and you shall destroy all of these people. It's like, come on, why do you want to stay here? He promised us this land on the other side of the Jordan. Don't discourage the rest of the tribes. And so then they came near to him and said, let us build up sheep enclosures here for our livestock and cities for our little ones, but let us ourselves be armed, hastening before the children of Israel until we have brought them into their place, and all of our little ones shall dwell in the walled city because of the inhabitants of the land. And we shall not return to our homes until every one of the children of Israel has received his inheritance. For we shall not inherit with them on the other side of the Jordan and beyond, because our inheritance has fallen to us on the eastern side of the Jordan. And Moshe said to them, if you make this promise, and if you arm yourself before Yah for battle, and all of your armed ones pass over the Yarden before Yah until he has driven out the enemies from before him, and the land has been subdued before Yah, then afterward you shall return and be guiltless before Yah and before Israel, and this land shall be your possession before Yah. But if you do not do so, then see, you shall sin against Yah, and know your sin is going to find you out. Build cities for your little ones and enclosures for your sheep, and do what you have promised. And the children of Gad and the children of Reuben spoke to Moshe, saying, your servants are going to do as the master commands. Our little ones, our wives, and our flocks, and all of our livestock are going to be there in the cities of Gilead. But your servants are passing over every armed one of the army before Yah to battle, as my master says. And Moshe gave command concerning them to Eleazar the priest, to Joshua son of Nun, and to the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel. And Moshe said to them, if the children of Gad and the children of Reuben pass over the Yarden with you, every man armed for battle, because Moshe's not going to be there. Father told him he's going to go die. So he's like, hey guys, you got to make sure this happens. So the man, so with you, every man armed for battle before Yah, and the land has been subdued before you. Then you shall give them the land of Gilead as possession. But if they do not pass over armed with you, they shall have possessions among you in the land of Canaan. Then the children of Gad and the children of Reuben answered, saying, as Yah has said to your servants, so we do. Shema, we hear, and we will obey. Such a beautiful word, such a beautiful concept. We have to live by it. We hear his word and we choose obedience. That's what he loves. We ourselves are passing over armed before Yah into the land of Canaan, but the possession of our inheritance remains with us beyond the Yarden. So Moshe gave to the children of Gad and the children of Reuben, and to the half tribe of Manasseh, son of Joseph, the reign of Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, and the reign of Og, sovereign of Bashan, and the land with its cities, with the borders, and the cities and the land about it. And the children of Gad built Dibon, and Atroth, and Eror, and Atroth, Shavon, and Yazer, and Yagueth, and Bethel, Nimrah, Bethel, Haran, walled cities and enclosures for sheep. And the children of Reuben built Heshbon and Elah, and Kiriathim, and Nebo and Baal Me on the names, Baal Meon, the names being changed, and Shema, and they gave other names to the cities which they built. And the sons of Machir, sons of Manasseh, went to Gilead and took it and dispossessed the Amorites who were in it. So Moshe gave Gilead to Machir, son of Manasseh, and he dwelt in it. And Yair, son of Manasseh, went and took small towns and called them Hawath Yair. And Naban went and took Kenath in its villages, and they called it Nopah after his own name. 33. 33:1. These are the departures of the children of Israel who went out to the land of Mitzrayim by their divisions under the hand of Moshe and Aharon. And Moshe wrote down the starting points of their departure at the mouth of Yah. And these are the departures according to the starting points. I love this for some reason. I don't know. I can just picture it. You know, they're all camped around in their formations with their flags. And it's just like this big time to go, march out, let's go. And they all march out in their formations in the order. I don't know. I have a thing about symmetry and order, I guess. So I guess that's why it excites me. Anyway, and Moshe wrote down the starting points of their departures at the mouth of Yah, and these are their departures according to the starting points. So they departed from Ramses. Okay. Oh no, I'm sorry. This isn't it. This was their progression of where they went to. So they departed from Ramses in the new moon, first new moon. So when they first left, the first new moon, it's when there's no moon in the sky, or when the sliver, it's debatable. Do your research, decide what you do. Anyway, and the new moon starts the new month. So this is when they left Egypt, Mitzrayim. It was from the city of Ramses, and the first new moon on the 15th day of the first new moon on the morrow of the Pesach, the Passover. After the Passover, the next day, the children of Israel went out with boldness before the eyes of all the Mitzrayites. Okay, so now we're doing the accounting. Sorry, I was mixed up in what was going on. This is their journey. So Numbers 33:4, and the Mitzrayites were burying all their firstborn who Yah had stricken among them, also on their mighty ones Yah had executed judgment. Then the children of Israel departed from Ramses and camped at Succoth. And they departed Succoth and camped at Etham, which is on the edge of the wilderness. And they departed from Etham and turned back to Piharoth, which is east of I think this is when they went in and decided that the giants were too scary, and then they had to turn back and go back into the wilderness. They departed, and that was all within like 2 years, and then the rest of this is the 38 years that they just wandered. They departed from Etham and turned back to Piharoth, which is east of Baal Tisphon, and they camped near Migdol. And they departed and they departed before Haftarah and passed over through the midst of the sea into the wilderness, went 3 days' journey in the wilderness of Etham and camped at Marah. So this is Marah, where the bitter waters, and they complained, and then Moses, the rock. And they departed from Marah and came to Elam, and Elam were 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees, so they camped there. And they departed in Elam and camped by the Sea of Reeds, and they departed from the Sea of Reeds and camped in the wilderness of Sin. And they departed from the wilderness of Sin and camped at Dohaka. And they departed from Dohaka and camped at Alush. And then they departed from Alush and camped at Rephidim. And there was no water for the people to drink. So this is the second time where Moshe, that's why he doesn't get to go. And there was no water in this, I think, where he struck the rock twice and pretty much canceled his trip into the promised land, sadly. And they departed from Rephidim and camped in the wilderness of Sinai. And they departed the wilderness of Sinai and camped at Kerbath Hatawatha. And they camped and departed Kerbath Hataawa and camped at Hasroth. And they departed from Hasroth and camped at Rithmah. And see, some of these make sense to me, and I'm still learning about a lot of the others. They all have meaning, or they wouldn't be in here. But like I'd be able to oh yeah, that's right. That's what happened there. That's what they did there. So still learning, fascinating. And they departed from Rithmah and camped at Rimah Peretz. And they departed Rimah Peretz and camped at Libnah. And they departed Libnah and camped at Rissah. And they departed from Rissah and camped at Kahalatha. And they departed from Caleth. It sounds like they've kind of gone in a circle. And they camped at Mount Shapher. And they departed Mount Shapher and camped at Haradath. And so think about this. Every one of these moves is when the cloud or the pillar of fire would go up, and they'd have to pack everything up and move. And so that's a lot. And they departed from Haradath and camped at Megaloth. And they departed from Megaloth and camped at Taha. And they departed from Taha and camped at Terah. And they departed Terah and camped at Mithkah. And they departed Mithkah and camped at Hashmonah. And they departed Hashmonah and camped at Mohorath. And they departed Mohorath and camped at Benai Yahakan. And departed Benai Yahakan and camped at Hor Haggadah. And they departed from Hor Haggad and camped at Yotbatha. And they departed Yotbatha and camped at Abrona. And they departed at Abrona and camped at Etzion Gerber. And they departed Etzion Gerber and camped in the wilderness of Sin, which is Kadesh. And they departed from Kadesh and camped at Mount Hor on the boundary of the land of Edom. And Aharon the priest went up to Mount Hor at the mouth of Yah and died there in the 40th year after the children of Israel had come out of the land of Mitzrayim on the first day of the 5th new moon. And now Aharon was 123 years old when he died on Mount Hor, and the sovereign of Arad and the Canaanite who dwelt in the southern in the land of Canaan heard of the coming of the children of Israel. So they departed from Mount Hor and camped at Tasmath, and they departed Tasmath and camped at Punan, and they departed Punan and camped at Abath, and they departed Abath and camped at Ai Ha-Abarim at the border of Moab, and they departed from Ayim and camped at Dibon Gad, and they departed Dibon Gad and camped at Almon. Oh boy, I'm just going on. And they departed from Almon. I can't just go on because here it is again. Almon Dilahabayama, and camped in the mountains of Abrim before Nebo, and they departed from the mountains of Abrim and camped in the desert plains of Moab by the Yarden of Jericho. And they camped by the Yarden from Beth Yeshimoth as far as Abel Shittim in the desert plains of Moab. Drive out the inhabitants. Here we go. And Yah spoke to Moshe in the desert plains of Moab by the Yarden of Jericho, saying, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when you pass over the Yarden into the land of Canaan, you shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land from before you, and shall destroy all of their engraven stones, and shall destroy all their molded images, and lay waste all their high places. Like, just wipe them out and get rid of them. And you shall possess the land and dwell in it, for I have given you the land to possess. And you shall drive the land by lot as an inheritance among your clans. To the larger you give a larger inheritance, and to the smaller you give a smaller inheritance. Wherever the lot falls to anyone, that is his. So you inherit according to the tribes of your fathers. And if you do not drive out the inhabitants, this is so important to this day because they didn't. And if you do not drive out all of the inhabitants of the land from before you, then it shall be that those whom you let remain shall be pricks in your eyes and thorns in your sides, and they shall trouble you in the land where you dwell. That's happening now. And it shall be that I do to you as I thought to do to them. Oof. 34, and Yah spoke to Moshe, saying, command the children of Israel and say to them, when you have come into the land of Canaan, this is the land which falls to you as an inheritance, the land of Canaan, to its boundaries. Then your southern border shall be from the wilderness of Sin along the border of Edom, and to the southern border shall be eastward from the end of the Salt Sea. Yeah, if you've got Bibles that have like maps in the back, it's super cool to, as you read this, go, oh, it doesn't show because of the, isn't that trippy? Okay. But it's cool to go look at those maps and check out all of these places and where they are in relation to each other. And then the borders of, where the different tribes lived, and that was given to them as their inheritance. And the southern border shall be in the wilderness of Sin along the border of Eden, and the southern border shall be eastward from the end of the Salt Sea. Then your border shall turn from the southern side of the ascent of Akrabim and continue to Sin and be on the southern Kadesh Barnea, and it shall go on to Hatzar Adar and continue to Atzmon. And the border shall turn from Atzmon to the Wadi of Mitzrayim, and it shall end at the sea. As for the western border, you shall have the great sea for a border. This is your western border, and this is your northern border. From the great sea, you mark out your border line to Mount Hor. And from Mount Hor, you mark out your border to the entrance of Hamath, and to the edge of the border shall be towards Sadad. And the border shall proceed to Ziphron, and it shall end at Hatzar Enam. This is your northern border. And you shall mark out the eastern border from Hatzar Enon to Sephiim, and the border shall go down from Sephiim to Riblah on the east side of Ain to the border shall go down and reach the eastern side of the Sea of Kinrath. And the border shall go down along the Yarden and the Jordan River there, and it shall end at the Salt Sea. This is your land with which the surrounding boundaries. And Moshe commanded the children of Israel, saying, this is the land which you inherit by lot, which Yah has commanded to give to the 9 tribes and to the half tribe. So because Reuben and Gad and the half tribe of Manasseh are staying over on the east, and then because I'm in California, I'm always backwards. So they're over here and they're coming this way. They're marching to the west, taking over that land. And so then there's only 9 tribes, and then the other half tribe of Manasseh that are going to be living on the west side of the Jordan. And for the tribe of the children of Reuben, according to the house of their fathers, and the tribe of the children of Gad, according to the house of their father, have received their inheritance, and the half tribe of Manasseh have received their inheritance over on the east side of the Jordan. The 2 tribes and the half tribe have received their inheritance beyond the Jordan of Jericho, the Jordan River of Jericho, eastward toward the sunrise, more towards going east. And Yah spoke to Moshe, saying, these are the names of the men who divide the land among you. So we need to learn these names because we deal with these people through all of the rest of the books. The prophets or the sovereigns, or because of what tribe they're all in and everything. And before it was like I said, it was like, oh, so and so, blah 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 blah. Especially since the names are hard, and this is going to be fun. But when you start recognizing these names and go, oh my gosh, that was him from back there, and that's when they were doing this, and it just comes alive and makes such a it's exciting. So I'm sorry. So, and the names of the men who divided the land among you as an inheritance: Eleazar the priest, and Yehoshua, Joshua. So Eleazar, Aaron's son, who became the high priest, and Yehoshua, son of Nun. Eleazar is doing the priestly duty, and Yehoshua, son of Nun, he is taking Moses's place. So basically, Eleazar took Aaron's place. Yehoshua was taking Moses's place. Yehoshua. And take 1 leader of every tribe and divide the land for your inheritance. And these are the names of the men from the tribe of Yehuda, of Judah: Caleb, son of Yehophani. From the tribe of the children of Simeon, Shamuel, son of Ammihud. From the tribe of Benjamin, Eliad, son of Kislon. And a leader from the tribe of the children of Dan, Buki, son of Yogli. From the sons of Yosef, a leader from the tribe of the children of Manasseh is Haniel, son of Ephod. And a leader from the tribe of the children of Ephraim, Kimuel, son of Shiptan. And the leader of the tribe of the children of Zebulon, Eliasaph, son of Parnek. And a leader from the tribe of the children of Issachar, Palatiel, son of Azan. And the leaders of the tribe of the children of Asher, Ahad, son of Shalomi, homie. And the leader from the tribe of the children of Naphtali, Peduel, son of Amihud. And these were the ones Yah commanded to divide the inheritance among the children of Israel in the land of Canaan. And Yah spoke to Moshe in the desert plain of Moab by the Yarden of Jericho, saying, command the children of Israel that they shall give the Levites cities to dwell in from the inheritance of their possession. Also give the Levites open land around the cities, and they shall have the cities to dwell in, and their open land for their cattle and for their herds and for their livestock. And the open land of the cities which you give to the Levites are from the wall of the city outward of 1,000 cubits all around. And you shall measure outside the city on the east side 2,000 cubits, and on the south side 2,000 cubits, and on the west side 2,000 cubits, and on the north side 2,000 cubits. And the city is in the middle. This is to them the open land for the cities. And the cities which you give the Levites are the 6 cities of refuge, which you give to the manslayer to flee to, and these you add 42 more cities. All of the cities which you give to the Levites are 48. These are the open, with their open land. These with their open land. And the cities which you give are from the possession of the children of Israel. From the larger tribe, you give many. From the smaller tribe, you give few. Each one gives some of the cities to the Levites in proportion to the inheritance that each inherits. You know, he's just so brilliant and he thinks of so much. So this now the cities of refuge. And Yah spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when you pass over the Jordan, into the land of Canaan, then you shall choose cities to be cities of refuge for you, that the manslayer who struck someone mistakenly shall flee there. And they shall be cities of refuge for you and for the revenger. And the manslayer is not to die until he stands before the congregation for right ruling. So he gets a trial. And of the cities which you give, 6 are to be cities of refuge. Give 3 cities beyond the Jordan, and give 3 cities in the land of Canaan as the cities of refuge. These 6 cities are for the refuge for the children of Israel and for the sojourner. So just, you know, for the Hebrews and those who sojourn with them, those who choose to walk in covenant, even though they do not have Hebrew DNA. Like some of us, although I found out I do have Hebrew DNA, so I'm from the tribe of Judah. Anyway, but if he has stricken him with an instrument of iron so that he dies, he's a murderer. The murderer shall certainly be put to death. Like we don't want to keep perpetuating in their bloodline. Let's take care of it. So if he has stricken him with a stone in the hand by which one could die, and he does die, he's a murderer. The murderer shall certainly be put to death. Or if he has stricken him with a wooden instrument that could kill, and he does die, he's a murderer. The murderer shall certainly be put to death. The revenger of blood puts the murderer to death. So every family had an avenger. Their revenger, that was the person that would go and take care of the business. Eye for an eye. And the revenger of blood puts himself, the avenger of blood himself puts the murderer to death. When he meets him, he puts him to death. So that's his job, is to go out and find the person who killed his family member. And if he thrusts him through in hatred or throws an object at him while lying in wait so that he dies, or in enmity he strikes him with his hand so that he dies, the one who struck him shall certainly be put to death, for he is a murderer. The revenger of blood puts the murderer to death when he meets him. But if he pushes him suddenly without enmity or throws an object at him without laying in wait, so like this is an accident, threw a bottle and I didn't realize, over a hedge and it landed and knocked, killed him, accident. Or uses a stone by which a man could die, throwing it at him without seeing him so that he dies while he's not his enemy or seeking him harm, then the congregation shall judge between him who struck someone and the revenger of blood, according to these right rulings. And the congregation shall rescue the manslayer from the hand of the revenger of blood, and the congregation shall return him to the city of refuge where he had fled, and he shall remain there until the death of the high priest, who was anointed with the set apart oil. So when they first get started and they first create these cities, Eleazar is the high priest, and so they stay in that city of refuge until that high priest dies. So when Eleazar dies, then those people can go back to their own land and be pardoned, essentially. But if the manslayer at any time goes outside the limit of the city of refuge where he fled, and the avenger of blood finds him outside the limit of the city of refuge, then the revenger of blood executes the manslayer. He is not guilty of blood. Basically it's like a prison, involuntary manslaughter. But you get to go live in a city and not be jailed up in a cell. Because he should have remained in the city of refuge until the death of the high priest. But after the death of the high priest, the manslayer is to return of the land of his possession. And these shall be for a law and right ruling to you throughout your generations in all your dwellings. Whoever strikes a being, the murderer shall be executed by the mouth of witnesses, but one witness does not bear witness against someone to die. So there has to be 2 or more witnesses to actually bring about the death penalty. And take no ransom for the life of a murderer who is guilty of death, but he shall certainly be put to death. and take no ransom. Don't let him pay his way out of it. For he who has fled to the city of refuge to return to dwell in the land before the death of the priest. He, took his life into his own hands. And do not profane the land where you are, for blood profanes the land. Oh, I just heard this part of a teaching, and this like serious stuff here. Right now our earth is reeling and rocking and crying out because of all of the blood that has profaned it throughout generations. And it is, we're coming to the end. Anyway, so the blood profanes the land, and the land is not pardoned for the blood that is shed on it, except by the blood of him who sheds it, meaning an eye for an eye, So, and do not defile the land which you inhabit, in the midst of which I dwell, for I, Yah, am dwelling in the midst of the children of Israel. And the land in the hands and the heads of the fathers of the clans of the children of Gilad, son of Machir, son of Manasseh, of the clans of the son of Joseph, came near and spoke before Moshe and before the leaders and the heads of the father of the children of Israel, and said, Yah commanded my master to give the land as an inheritance by lot to the children of Israel, and my master has commanded by Yah to give the inheritance to our brother to Zelophehad, to his daughters. I was in last portion where the daughters are like, hey, we don't have any male to, put this down to, can you please, give us the inheritance? So now, if they are married to any of the sons of other tribes of the children of Israel, then their inheritance shall be taken from the inheritance of our fathers and shall be added to the inheritance of the tribe into which they marry, and taken from the lot of our inheritance. And if Yobel of the children of Israel take place, Yobel is, I'm pretty sure Yobel is, oh, it's not coming up. I think that's Jubilee. And if the Yobel of the children of Israel takes place, then their inheritance shall be added to the inheritance of the tribe into which they marry, and their inheritance taken away from the inheritance of the tribe of their fathers. And Moshe commanded the children of Israel, there we go, according to the word of Yah, saying, what the tribes of the sons of Joseph speaks is right. This is the word which Yah has commanded for the daughters of Zelophehad, saying, let them marry who is good in their eyes, but let them marry only within the clan of their father's tribe, to keep it in the inheritance, intact in the family, in the tribe. And the inheritance of the children of Israel is not to change hands from tribe to tribe, for every one of the children of Israel is to cling to the inheritance of the tribe of his fathers. Oh, if they had only done that. And every daughter possessing an inheritance in any tribe of the children of Israel is to be the wife of the one of the clan of her father's tribe, so that the children of Israel possess each of the inheritance of their fathers. And thus the inheritance is not to change hands from one tribe to another, but every tribe of the children of Israel is to cling to their own inheritance. And Yah commanded Moshe, so did the daughters of Zelophehad. And for Mahal, Tisra, Haglah, Milcah, and Noah, the daughters of Zelophehad, were married to the sons of their father's brothers. And they were married into the clans of the children of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, and their inheritance remained in the tribe of their father's clan. These are the commands and the right rulings which Yah commanded to the children of Israel by the hand Moshe in the desert plains of Moab. Real quick, I think it's be strong, be strengthened, I think is, I think that I need to figure that out before we're done with Deuteronomy. Anyway, so that is the Torah portion. Now, the Haftarah, and I honestly don't know how long this has been going. I apologize if it's a long one. Pause it and come back to it later if it's too long to listen to in one shot. So, actually, this is probably where I'm going to end, because it sounds like my husband's home, and now we're going to be going to town. Yep. So, the Haftarah, Jeremiah 2 through 28, and Jeremiah 3, 4, and Mark 11 through 12:25. If you go read those on your own, and praise Yah, I was able to get through this. I missed it so much. I'm also going to be recording. We're starting the book of Exodus. That's going to be in my Books of the Bible playlist. I just finished Genesis. Now I'm going to be recording the book of Exodus. So be looking for that as well. Be blessed. Thank you for joining me. That's our alarm at our gate that someone's coming and going. He's opening. So anyway, be blessed. Thank you for joining me. Share this with your friends that are new to, or, curious about, I don't know why people, because I guess I call it the Torah. People get in their mind what it is, but I mean, the Torah, come learn with me about how awesome and important and full of rich, beautiful history that shaped our Messiah and and the disciples that shaped our faith. Come learn the beginnings of those with me and share it with your friends who are interested in learning more about the behind the faith, the Hebrew side. So be blessed, and I'll see you next week, y'all willing. And now I got to figure out how to turn it all off and do the thing. Okay, there we go.